Not your friends, man. Your friends are not important right now. But your friends, your peers, what do they call you?
Born in Butterworth, Simphiwe Dana, a South African singer-songwriter who works mostly in her mother tongue, the Xhosa language. Dana is also known for her creative social commentary and activism through music as a political art form. She calls it high art. As she returns to the Joburg Theatre with Moya, Oak Avenue had a sit-down with the sensational songstress.
Welcome, Sis Simphiwe Dana.
No, thank you so much.
Siphilile Nkosi. Your show.
Yes.
How does it feel?
It's been a lot of running around, getting ready for it, like Umdu just needs to get their head into it now that it's finally happening, all the preparation, etc., etc.
Yeah.
In performance mode, yonke lanto must just fall away. So I'm preparing my head for that now.
Okay, now when you're preparing for such a show and people don't understand what goes into that, can you maybe just briefly take us through? And I'm saying briefly because I'm trying to be nice. I know there's a lot that you had to go through for such a show. Can you just briefly take us through on what it is that makes up Moya at the end of the day?
There's a lot of stuff behind the scenes, like choosing the right band, then rehearsing them, and then all of these little things that need to be fixed as you go along, and then last minute things that come up, like we need extra microphones, or like we need this, and we forgot that. And then also just the creative team, them having everything that they need, even if it comes last minute, fixing those kinds of things. It's a lot. And then the interviews like I'm doing with you right now. Extremely important.
I actually wanted us to talk about the creative team. Because one, you've got the Joburg Theatre again.
Yes.
Two, you've got to Titi. You've got to Greg. Does that add pressure on you?
I've got these
three powerhouses.
I'm under a lot of pressure all the time for various things.
Okay.
Because ultimately I'm the face of it, right?
Yeah.
And if anything falls apart, it's going to be like, Simphiwe's show.
Oh, so there's a lot riding on your name.
Yes. So I'm always under a lot of pressure, not just for my performance on stage, but that everything is pulling together.
The one thing that people always take away from your shows, or that your shows always bring, it's always properly packaged. There's dancers. I was actually chatting to a friend that Simphiwe has dancers, and he was like, dancers?
No, I don't have dancers.
There's dancers, there's fashion.
Yeah.
Your thoughts around those two. How do you know that, you know what, I need dancers to do this, and the fashion element is always on point? How, paint a picture of you explaining that to the team.
There are certain shows, where I explore my art in full. And shows like Moya are those kinds of shows. Like I don't have dancers that I would bring to a festival. Like not like that, I do what I call high art. And I mean, to be quite honest with you, I prefer to stay there, like do those kinds of shows, theaters, that kind of environment. That's where I am most at home.
Okay.
Because then my music can get the treatment, the sensitive treatment that it requires, that it's written for. So those shows, then I can explore the full spectrum.
So everything when it's together must tell a story.
Music. Yes.
Outside of knowing your lyrics, what else do you want the audience to take away from Moya?
Spirit. Like Moya is called spirit for
So my next question is actually linked to that, right?
Yeah.
You now doing spiritual music.
Most
of us, you've always been doing it. You've always been doing it, but I think now, like, there's more of it than in the past. You call it spiritual music. Some people call it gospel music. Why? Why are you not calling it gospel music and calling it spiritual music?
Because I am formed of different types of spiritualities. And at the core, I subscribe to African spirituality. And I'm made of all of these different parts. So when I put them together, I can now, view the God that I was taught of in church. I can see that same God, Elosi.
Okay.
Right. So tying all of those things together, I'm not one or the other. I'm a combination.
They always say you are like a trinity.
Well, I know. Like I said, no. That's a very heavy word. No, I'm just born of all of these different forms, right? And it's quite a sensitive thing, right?
Yeah. It causes a lot of debate.
Yes,
Yeah.
because it's quite, and I don't want debate. I just want to feel how I'm feeling and express how I'm
So
feeling.
would you say in a showcase like Moya, we seeing Simphiwe? Is that an extension of who
Yes.
Simphiwe is?
From when I was young and everything, I'm giving in to something that I've been tiptoeing around. It's there in my music, it's always been there, but I've been tiptoeing around it because I was trying to find myself.
Yeah.
Right, and that's why spirit, not Christianity, not Islam, not this, not that. Spirit.
And we are all made
Because we all subscribe to the same God.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
How we get there, what we call amadlozi, another.
calls it something else,
Exactly,
but the
exactly.
essence of it
So
is
now,
the
if
same
you
thing.
go to the core, it becomes very difficult for you to label it.
Yeah.
Right.
So earlier on, before we started recording, you spoke about how the show carries your name. There's multitudes of people. There's a team behind it, but it carries your name.
Yeah.
Right. So it was important in terms of which songs to select.
Yeah.
Because one mistake, you
Yeah.
alienate about Tamba.
Yeah. No.
Do you understand?
Definitely.
So, how do you select your songs?
Spirit. Spirit. And I think particularly with this project, because of what birthed it to begin with, I don't think I've ever felt a stronger pull to, find a connection to the divine more than I did when my mom passed, which is when this project was born. Because the first song I wrote was that song to accompany my mom to her last resting place. That's the first song that I wrote for this project. It's called Mombatise. And the shock to the system, of my mom not being there, like my anchor, the one person that I know, but when everything else falls apart, I'm
She's
going
there.
home.
Yeah.
My mom was my home wherever she was in the world. That was my home. So now I didn't have that. I'm gonna have to, put up my big girl panties and know that now dimenge ngiqayelange kind of thing, So the shock of that is what gave birth to this project. And it's something then that I've tried to honor throughout, right?
Yeah.
Even when I choose songs from my other albums, there are songs that tie
into the message.
To
They
this.
must all form
Yes.
part of the theme.
Yes.
We had the first leg last year. What made you decide to the return?
It was the response from the audiences, I had not realized the impact that the project would have, because now, and this is the thing about my work, it always comes from a very honest place. I'm just dealing with my shit, honestly.
Publicly.
I'm just, no.
So we
in
are all your
studio.
therapists.
Like literally, I mean, no, in studio,
Yeah.
I never just feel compelled to write. It's not like I can just write a song here and there and there and then say, okay, now I've got all of these songs, let me just put them together. There's always something that compels me, and then the therapy is all of that work that I will create because of what compelled me.
Yeah.
Right? By the time I'm through with that, I won't say I'm healed, but I've purged all of that pain and angst, etc., etc. Right? So that's how I,
You release.
Yes.
Okay. The last question from my side. Oh, there's two. Are we looking looking at a new album?
Well, we actually recorded Moya last year.
Okay.
Yeah, that's first. Yes, it's an audiovisual album. It's gonna come out soon. And I know that people have been waiting, but they might just wait a little bit longer. I cannot give that because now I'm gonna be making promises that I may not be able to keep.
Yeah.
So like we're just winding down like all the things, but we're done with post production, everything. So we're just tying up loose ends before we can.
Is there a plan for an Moya world tour?
That's what we are working on next.
Perfect.
Yeah.
Perfect.
Yeah.
Perfect.
That's what we're doing now.
And what else can we expect from Simphiwe Dana in 2023?
I don't know.
Excite us, please. Excite
Okay,
us.
I have a short film coming out.
Nice one. The name? You heard it first here.
It's gonna be on Netflix.
Nice one.
That's the name. I'm not sure. Perhaps they've changed it.
Yes. Yeah.
It could have just been like a running name at the time, so I won't say.
So we must just be. We must just look out for it.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes, please do that. What else do I have? I'm taking Moya to Durban as well in May. So there's also that. And what else am I doing this year?
A lot.
Quite a bit, but I'm a very forgetful
That's great.
person. I mean, not just like remember now. Yeah.
We're working though.
We are working, and COVID has done a huge number on us. So like we're really trying to pick up the pieces, you know, and plug in the holes, and all of that. So it's quite an honor, you know, that Umdu is working, you know, because we're all so scared about what if like COVID is on by night when it comes to our careers.
Yeah.
What if when everything comes back to
and
normal?
the creative industry was kind of forgotten.
No, it was the most affected.
Yeah.
Like any industry that needed crowds
Shucks.
was severely affected because there were no crowds. So literally 18 months of hardly any work. Which industry would survive that? 18 months.
But that says a lot in terms of how important the industry is, because even the audiences felt it.
Yeah, but I
Even
mean,
the
everyone
audiences
could,
felt it.
everyone survived. You know, people could do without it. Like, you know,
Yeah.
they did without it because I think maybe with technology you can listen to my live shows, you know, etc. You know, but Tina, who actually live off performing, we felt it, and I actually feel quite bad because a lot of artists did not make it back. You know, a lot of artists had to just throw in the towel, go home, pack up their bags and go home.
I can say a lot about that, but I don't want to be too
Yeah,
political.
yes, yeah.
And today's about you.
No, please, we don't do politics.
Yes, today's about you. Quick
Like you said,
question.
too depressing.
Of the new artists, up and coming artists, who's the one artist that you think we should look out for and that you would love to work with, male or female?
Oh my God, like the last time was before COVID that I actually had an ear out. Please give me a chance. Let me get back into it and find out who's out there right now.
Okay.
I can't think of a name.
Okay.
Particularly in SA.
Okay. Okay. So Simphiwe, thank you very much.
Thank you.
Thank you for your gift that you constantly share with us. I don't think most of the time what we do is we don't give people their flowers. We will only give it when they've passed on. But know that you've done a lot for this country, and I hope one day that you feel that South Africa and Africa is grateful that I exist.
Thank you so much.
Thank you, sis.
I appreciate it.
Thank you.
Hi. Hi, my name is Simphiwe Dana, and you are watching Oak Avenue TV.